Have you ever noticed that nothing particularly huge has happened, yet your chest feels heavy, your thoughts are tangled, and it is as if some invisible hand is squeezing your heart so tightly you cannot breathe well? And have you ever wondered why some people, living through equally difficult circumstances, can still smile from the heart, as if no storm outside can truly drown them? Welcome back to the channel, my friend. I am really glad you are here again, ready to sit down and have another honest conversation about the mind, destiny, and inner practice. Today, I want to share a simple but deeply transformative insight with you. What decides the taste of your life is not the outer situation, but your inner way of relating to it. The same event can crush one person and awaken another. The same pain can become poison in one heart and medicine in another. We often say that the mind is the root of suffering. Restless imagination, anxiety, regret, comparison, endless what if and why me loops. Every one of them is the mind torturing itself. But there is another half of the sentence that is even more important. The same mind that creates suffering can also become the source of freedom and ease. The very energy that used to drag you into darkness can, once transformed, become the light that guides you out. In this long video minus style sharing, I want to walk with you through a journey. We will not escape into theory or hide behind spiritual slogans. I will tell you stories, paint scenes from real life, and then gently connect them back to practice, to cause and effect, to compassion for yourself and others. We will look at why the same reality can feel like torture to one person and like a meaningful lesson to another. And most importantly, we will talk about how you can gradually move from the first type of person to the second. You do not need to leave your job, abandon your family, or move to the mountains. You do not need to turn your life upside down. You simply need to understand where the true battlefield is. Spiritual awakening is not about running away from life. It is about learning how to stay in life without being entirely controlled by it. Let us start with a sentence that looks simple but is actually very deep when you really live it out. Learning the Dharma, learning wisdom, is learning how to live. When people hear spiritual practice or Buddhist practice, many immediately picture temples, monastics, incense, mountain, remote hermitages. They imagine that real practice means leaving the city, throwing away their phone, cutting off relationships, eating extremely simple food, and never touching worldly matters again. In this picture, all the noise and mess of ordinary life is something to escape from. Only what is quiet and far away is seen as holy. So when some people first touch spiritual teachings, they quickly ask themselves, do I need to change my whole environment? Should I quit my job? Should I leave my partner? Should I move somewhere isolated just to meditate all day? The original article gently reminds us true practice is not outside of life. It is inside life. Eating, dressing, commuting to work, dealing with emails, talking to your children, washing dishes, facing your boss, arguing and making up with your partner, walking down the street. Every one of these moments is an opportunity to practice. Think about it for a moment. If someone can only stay calm and holy when no one bothers them, when there is no noise, no conflict, no responsibility, then what they are protecting is not true peace, but a fragile comfort zone. That peace is like a glass ornament, pretty to look at, but it shatters the moment reality bumps into it. Real strength is not the absence of pain points. Real strength appears when you can be surrounded by pain points and still keep one clear. Awake, compassionate corner in your heart. When you stand in the middle of family obligations, financial pressures, health challenges, and emotional storms, and yet your inner being is not dragged away so easily. That is the beginning of real practice. There is an old Chan saying that goes roughly like this: not getting stuck in good or bad situations is practice itself. It does not say escape good and bad. It says do not be stuck. You will definitely meet pleasing conditions and painful conditions. People will praise you and criticize you. There will be days when doors open and days when doors slam shut. The question is not how can I avoid all this, but when I face all this, does my mind immediately get captured and chained? Think back to a recent time when you felt intensely hurt, angry, or wronged. Maybe it was a harsh comment. Maybe it was an unfair assignment at work. Maybe it was a promise that someone did not keep. On the surface, it looks like the pain came from that event out there. But let us replay it slowly. The person said something that pierced your heart. Maybe they only said it once. But in your mind, you replayed that sentence hundreds of times. In the shower, on the bus, lying in bed before sleep. You reimagined every detail of their expression and tone. And with each replay, you added more stories. They never really respected me. No one ever truly loves me. I am always the one who gets treated this way. By the end of the day, the actual words are long gone. The person has probably forgotten the conversation. Yet your heart is still burning or frozen. What is doing the burning or freezing at that point? The event, or the mind that cannot stop gripping it? That gripping, that inability to let go, is what the chant I Ching calls being stuck. And the journey of practice is not about becoming numb and pretending everything is fine. It is about learning, slowly, how not to cling so tightly to every pleasant or unpleasant sensation, thought, or storyline. Most beginners, when they first get interested in spiritual practice, make a very understandable mistake. They think practice is about adding. What does adding mean? It means constantly adding more things onto your schedule and identity, adding another text to read, another ritual to perform, another retreat to attend, another teacher to follow, another mantra to memorize, another special experience to chase, another layer of I am different from ordinary people now. I once heard a story very similar to what the original article described, about a business owner who began practice in middle age. Let us call him Daniel. Daniel had built a good career. He had a company and a busy schedule. Around the age of 40-5, after a health scare, he was introduced to Buddhist teachings. He was moved and decided to devote himself seriously. He set his alarm for 5 in the morning every day to chant sutras. He bought statues, incense, and ritual items and set up a beautiful shrine at home. He drove long distances to visit different temples, donated generously to support big ceremonies, and subscribed to almost every channel that talked about enlightenment, meditation, or miracles. If you looked only at his schedule, you might say, wow, this man is really devoted. And yet, when you sat down with him privately, you could feel something strange. His face always seemed tense. His brow was often furrowed. He would sigh and say, my karmic debts are very heavy. I must practice more. If I do not keep increasing my practice, I will never be free. His wife watched him with a mixture of worry and sadness. One day she finally said, the more you chant, the more irritable you seem. You complain that we are noisy. You say we do not understand your path. The atmosphere at home is getting tighter, not softer. What exactly are you practicing? He felt deeply misunderstood. In his mind, the family did not support his practice. He even considered moving out to live near a temple, claiming he needed a pure environment. Then one day, visiting an elder teacher, he heard a simple sentence that shook him awake. Real practice is not putting more and more things on your body. It is putting down the things in your heart that are causing pain. If you do not do the subtraction well, the addition will only make your burden heavier. Those words stayed with him. He began to notice that along with his devotion, he had unconsciously added a lot of pride and division. He had begun to look down, very subtly, on people who did not practice the way he did. He judged those who did not wake up early to chant. He felt superior when he donated more than others. During chanting itself, his heart was not soft and humble. It was tight and anxious, afraid of missing a syllable or doing something wrong that would cancel his merit. When he realized this, He felt embarrassed but also relieved. At least now he could see clearly what was actually going on. He decided to quietly shift his focus. Instead of asking every day, "What new practice can I add?" he began to ask, "In what small ways can I cling less, complain less, judge less?" Slowly, his expression changed. The tight lines around his mouth softened. He spoke fewer grand theories and more kind, ordinary words. His wife told him, "You talk less about doctrine now, but you are easier to live with." That is the power of moving from adding to subtracting. When we let go of even one long held resentment, one stubborn self image, one humiliating memory we have been caressing for years, we are not losing something precious. We are putting down a burning coal we have been gripping in our own hand. The original article uses a vivid image. Imagine someone grabbing a piece of burning charcoal. Their hand is blistering. They are crying out in pain. "Why is the world so cruel to me? Why is my life nothing but suffering?" To everyone watching, the situation is very clear. Someone may tell them gently, "If you simply open your hand and let go of the coal, the pain will begin to ease." But the person screams, "No, this coal is mine. I have been holding it for so many years. How can I let it go?" Does this sound foolish when you imagine it? Yet this is exactly how we behave emotionally. Many of our strongest pains come not from the outer trigger itself, but from years of gripping and gripping the same memory, the same resentment, the same story of what should have happened but did not. Think about old grudges, unresolved anger toward a particular person, stubborn attachment to a past relationship, obsession with a certain identity or image of yourself, perfectionism that never lets you rest. These are not just abstract negative emotions. They are burning coals we refuse to drop. From the viewpoint of karma, every moment you grip them, you are planting new seeds of suffering. From the viewpoint of psychology, you are rehearsing the same neural pattern over and over. From the viewpoint of spiritual wisdom, you are tightening the chain that binds you to a narrow version of yourself, instead of allowing your awareness to open into something wider and freer. So spiritual practice, looked at from one angle, is a massive inner decluttering. Not rushing to buy more spiritual decoration, but turning on the light in the room of your heart and really seeing what is there. Which beliefs are rotten? Which memories are like old, broken furniture taking up half the floor? Which grudges smell like something that has been decaying for a long time? Throwing them out does not make you poorer. It makes you lighter. There is a classic teaching in Buddhism about one form, one taste of reality that says, in simpler words, do not get stuck in liking and hating, grabbing and pushing away. Do not spend all day calculating profit and loss, success and failure. Learn to let the heart be simple, calm, spacious, like a clear sky that can hold both sun and cloud. When you hear this, you might think, that sounds beautiful, but I cannot do it. When someone says something nasty to me, I get angry. When something unfair happens, my heart explodes. I am not a saint. Of course you are not. Neither am I. Neither were any great monastics in their youth. The difference is not that they never felt anger or pain, but that they were willing to notice it again and again, to turn inward instead of outward, and to learn slowly from each storm. The most crucial shift is to understand where to direct your effort. Instead of obsessing over changing the outer situation, you begin to invest in changing the way you relate to your own mind. This is what it means to turn the practice toward the heart. Now let us talk about something many people misunderstand. What does it mean to let go? A lot of people think spiritual practice is about suppressing feelings. They think they must push down anger, swallow hurt, cover sadness with a smile, pretend not to care. They call that forgiveness or acceptance, but it is actually repression. Repression is like pushing a beach ball underwater. The more you force it down, the higher it will shoot up later. True letting go begins with honest seeing. Imagine a moment when someone says something that hits your most sensitive nerve. You feel your chest tighten, your throat heat up, your heart pounding. Old memories rush in. A familiar flood of thoughts appears. How dare they? Why am I always treated this way? I am so tired of this. In such a moment, you have a choice. Most of us simply react. We shout back, slam a door, send a long angry message. Or, if we do not express it outwardly, we launch into an inner war, attacking ourselves or the other person in our head. But practice invites you to try something new. Instead of immediately reacting, you pause. You acknowledge honestly, I am hurt, I am angry, I feel unfairly treated. You do not pretend you are not upset. You do not force yourself to say, it is all empty. It does not matter. While your stomach is in knots, you let yourself feel what is there. But you add one more element: awareness. For a few breaths, you just stay with the sensation. You notice how your shoulders feel, how your breathing changes, how your thoughts race. You say inwardly, yes, this is painful, but I am not going to let this pain immediately drive my next action. I will sit with it for a moment. This is what many traditions call mindfulness or inner observation. It is not cold analysis. It is like a wise, loving adult sitting down next to a child who is crying, saying, I am here, I see you. I will not run away, but I also will not let you flip the whole table right now. You can imagine your heart as a small, easily frightened child. When life becomes too much, that child cries out, throws things around, slams doors. If you scold the child harshly every time, saying, you are ridiculous, you are pathetic, you should not feel this way, the child only becomes more frantic or shuts down completely. If instead you kneel down, look into their eye, and say, I know you are scared. I know you feel ignored or hurt. I am here. I will stay with you. Something softens. The child might not stop crying immediately, but the quality of that crying changes. It is being held. This kind of gentle, non-judging observation of your own inner state is the heart of real practice. It is not complicated. It does not require incense, exotic music, or a mountain cave. It requires courage and patience. And here is the magic you begin to see after doing this again and again. Pain does not only come from the event. It comes from the way you interpret and replay the event. Let us look at a concrete example. Two people, Alex and Ben, both lose their job on the same day. The company downsizes. Their names are on the list. Their external situation is identical: no income. Same industry, same economic climate. Alex's inner voice says, this is the end. I am worthless. Life is against me. I will never find anything this good again. People like me always get discarded. He spends days lying in bed, scrolling through his phone, comparing his life to others, feeling humiliated and resentful. Every friend who tries to encourage him meets a wall of bitterness. He thinks, you do not understand. Your life is easy. Ben's inner voice says, this is a shock. I am scared. I feel insecure. But I am not the only one in history who has lost a job. Maybe this is a crude way life is trying to redirect me. Maybe there are skills I have neglected. Maybe I need to rethink how I have been living. He also feels upset. He also has nights where he stares at the ceiling, wondering what to do. But in the middle of his fear, he leaves a small window open. What can I do now? With the little control I still have, he updates his resume. He reaches out to old contacts. He signs up for some free online courses to broaden his skills. He uses the unexpected free time to take care of his health, to have deeper conversations with his partner, to sit quietly and ask himself what kind of life he actually wants to build. The difference between them is not that one is better or more deserving than the other. The difference is that one locks his mind into a hell mode explanation, while the other gradually enters a practice mode explanation. Hell mode says, why me? Why is life so unfair? Why do other people get away with everything while I am the only one suffering? Practice mode also asks, why me? But in a different tone. What causes, visible or invisible, have led me to this moment? What lessons might be hidden here? How can I respond in a way that plants better seeds for my future? When your heart shifts from complain and collapse to acknowledge and respond, the taste of your pain changes. The outer event may still be there. The bills still need to be paid. The uncertainty is still very real. But the inner sense of being completely crushed starts to loosen. This is the deep meaning of the phrase, the heart is the root of suffering and the root of freedom. Someone might protest, but my pain is real. It is not just a matter of thinking differently. Of course your pain is real. Practice does not deny that. In fact, because your pain is so real, it deserves to be met with methods that truly work, not just with distraction, numbness, or self-pity. So many of us use main strategies to deal with pain avoidance or intoxication. We throw ourselves into work, shopping, games, gossip, substances, anything that helps us not feel. Or we sink deeper and deeper into the story of our victimhood, rehearsing every detail of how badly life treats us. Both strategies create more karma, more consequences, more distance from our own heart. Real inner practice, it's somewhere else. It says, yes, this hurts. I will not lie to myself, but I will not feed it endlessly with stories, and I will not run away from it. I will sit with it, breathe with it, and ask what it is trying to show me. From the perspective of cause and effect, every experience you are going through now is both a result of past seeds and a seed for future experiences. Your interpretation of an event, your reaction to it, your actions based on that reaction. These are all seeds. If you respond to loss only with resentment and blame, you plant more loss and more inner emptiness. If you respond with honesty, responsibility, and at least a tiny bit of compassion for yourself and others, you plant different seeds. They may not blossom tomorrow, but they will shape your destiny over time. The ancient sages often said that fate is not a rigid prison. It is the unfolding of causes and conditions, influenced constantly by your present choices. Your heart is not merely a victim of destiny. It is a collaborator in creating it. Let us look at another scene: relationships. Two people go through a breakup. The partner leaves. One person says, I will never love again. All men aren't trustworthy. All women are heartless. I was a fool. I will protect myself by closing my heart forever. Another says, this hurts more than I can express. I miss them. I feel abandoned. But I want to use this to see myself more clearly. Where did I ignore red flags? Where did I fail to speak honestly? Where did I cling out of fear, instead of loving with wisdom? How can I heal the parts of me that chose this dynamic, so that I do not repeat it blindly? The first person takes their pain and turns it into a thick armor of cynicism. The second takes their pain and slowly turns it into compost for growth. Same outer event or relationship ended. Completely different inner outcome. It is not that the second person is stronger in some macho sense. It is that they are willing to stay in relationship with their own heart, without collapsing into despair or covering their wounds with bitterness. You might ask, is it really that simple? Just change how I think, and everything changes. It is not simplistic positive thinking. You cannot cover a deep cut with a thin smile. But it is true that your interpretation of events has enormous power. The story you choose to tell yourself about what is happening can either deepen your suffering or open a door to meaning and transformation. And this is intimately tied to the way you practice in daily life. If you have trained yourself, even a little, to notice your thoughts instead of blindly believing them, then when a painful event hits, you'll have some space. You can see, here comes that voice again, saying I am worthless. Here comes that old story, saying the world is against me. You can gently say to that voice, I hear you. You have been with me a long time. But I am not going to let you be the only narrator of my life anymore. That moment of noticing, of not fully buying into the story, is small but powerful. It is a crack in the wall of karma. Through that crack, light comes in. Different traditions give different names to this ability. Some call it midfulson. Some call it awareness. Some call it the witnessing consciousness. Some call it the original nature. Whatever word you like. The experience is the same. There is a part of you that can see your pain without being completely drowned in it. A part of you that can choose how to respond. So how do we develop this? Not by grand theories, but by small, consistent practices. For example, you can start with a simple daily check-in. Sit quietly for 5 minutes, without music, without your phone. Close your eyes or soften your gaze. Feel your breath. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What is my mind busy with? You do not need to fix anything in these 5 minutes. You are just turning toward yourself instead of away. You are letting your inner world know, I am willing to meet you. On some days, all you will notice is restlessness, lists of tasks, worries about tomorrow, random thoughts. On other days, a specific sadness will rise, or a particular anger. Your job is not to wrestle with them. Your job is to see them, name them, and stay present. Over time, this builds a muscle. When something difficult happens, that muscle helps you pause before reacting. You remember, I have sat with discomfort before. I do not need to panic. I can feel this and still choose my next step with some clarity. This is how practice moves from the meditation cushion into traffic jams, office politics, parenting challenges, and late-night worries. The heart that has tasted even a little stillness does not crumble as easily when the wind blows. Let me ask you, as the original article gently does, when was the last time you felt truly peaceful? Not excited, not distracted, but quietly peaceful. What were you doing? Who were you with? What kind of thoughts were present in your mind at that time? And when was the last time you felt so overwhelmed that you did not even want to speak? What triggered that? In that moment, did you hear a small voice inside saying, I do not want to live like this anymore? If yes, then hidden behind that voice is an even deeper longing. I want to live differently. That longing is the starting point of your practice in this lifetime. You do not need to imitate great masters or compare your progress to anyone else. You only need to take that longing seriously. To say to yourself, I am tired of being dragged through hell by my own uncontrolled mind. I would like to walk toward the side of light, even if it is step by step. Every time you admit this honestly, it is already a form of repentance and awakening. In many classical teachings, there is an image of someone who has created negative karma for countless lifetimes. Yet in one moment of sincere turning back, opens a path beyond cycles of suffering. This does not mean you should wait until your deathbed to change. It means as long as you are willing to turn now. Hope is alive. So if today, right here, you are willing to look at your heart and say, I no longer want to be dragged into hell by my own thoughts. I want to slowly turn this same heart toward compassion, wisdom, and freedom. Then that decision itself carries immense power. Let us bring everything together in a more personal way. This story we have been exploring is not some abstract doctrine. It is your life, my life, the life of everyone who has ever loved, lost, hoped, feared, laughed, and cried. Maybe there was a time when you felt inferior because nothing big had gone wrong in your life. Yet you were still unhappy. You looked around and told yourself, I have food, a job, a family. Why can I not be grateful? Maybe I am just weak. You did not realize that unexamined comparison, invisible self minus criticism, and suppressed emotions are already real forms of suffering. Maybe you have also envied people who seem to carry sunshine inside them. People whose lives are not necessarily easy, who may be juggling work, debts, children, aging parents, their own health issues, but somehow still have a calm, steady place in their heart. Let me tell you this: none of those people are naturally blessed with a special gene that you lack. Many of them have simply practiced, consciously or unconsciously, responding differently to pain. They have trained their heart to look for meaning, instead of only blame. To ask, what can I learn or give here? Instead of only, why is this happening to me? I want to share with you a composite story, drawn from many real situations, of someone who learned this shift the hard way. She grew up in a family where emotions were not talked about. Her parents worked hard, but when conflict arose, they either exploded or pretended nothing was wrong. As a child, she developed the habit of scanning people's moods, always on guard, always ready to adjust herself to avoid trouble. She learned to smile and say, "I am fine," even when she felt like crying. In school, when classmates made fun of her, she laughed along, pretending it did not matter. At home, when her achievements were dismissed as not good enough, she swallowed the hurt. Little by little, she began to believe that her feelings were a burden, that her sadness was unacceptable. As an adult, she entered relationships carrying this pattern. She chose partners who mirrored the emotional unavailability she knew so well. When they were old, distant, or harsh, she told herself, "This is normal. I just need to be more understanding." One day, after yet another painful breakup, she found herself sitting alone in her room, feeling an old familiar heaviness in her chest. She reached for her phone, ready to distract herself with social media, but stopped. Something in her whispered, "I cannot keep living like this." She stumbled upon a video talking about mindfulness and inner observation. It sounded simple enough: sit quietly, watch your breath, notice your feelings without judging them. That night, she tried. At first, all she felt was discomfort. Her knees hurt, her back ached, her mind ran in circles. She wanted to quit, but she remembered the voice that said, "I want to live differently," and stayed a little longer. As she continued this simple practice day after day, something small shifted. When a wave of sadness came, instead of immediately grabbing her phone or calling someone to distract herself, she would sit for a few moments and say inwardly, "I see you. I will not abandon you." Old memories rose: her parents arguing, teachers criticizing her, partners dismissing her. Tears came, but this time, she did not rush to wipe them away. She let herself cry like a child in the arms of a patient adult. Weeks became months. Did all her problems disappear? No. She still had bills to pay, lonely evenings, misunderstandings with friends. But whenever something difficult happened, she no longer felt like a helpless leaf in a storm. She knew she had a home inside the space of awareness that could hold her feelings and ask, "What is the most compassionate response here? For myself and others?" The same kinds of events that once made her feel like dying now became opportunities to practice. When a friend canceled on her, instead of spiraling into "nobody cares about me," she noticed the hurt, breathed with it, and then gently checked in with the friend about what was going on. When her boss criticized her work, she still felt her stomach drop, but she used that as a chance to grow her skills and to explore her patterns of perfectionism. Slowly, she became that person others described as strong but gentle. From the outside, her life still had challenges. From the inside, her relationship with those challenges had changed. This is what I want for you as well. Not a life with zero pain, because such a life does not exist on this earth, but a heart that can weather pain without collapsing. A mind that knows how to transform suffering into wisdom and compassion. As we come to the end of this sharing, I want you to know that if any part of this resonated with you, even a little, that resonance itself is precious. It shows that your inner wisdom recognizes the truth in these words. You are not starting from zero. Deep in you, there is already an instinct for awakening, for understanding cause and effect, for living with more compassion toward yourself and others. Maybe you have your own stories that mirror what we discussed. Maybe there was a time you went through a loss that nearly destroyed you. But years later you looked back and saw that this loss forced you to grow up, to face patterns you would never have questioned otherwise. Or maybe you are right now in the middle of something so painful that you cannot imagine ever being grateful for it. That is okay. You do not need to be grateful for it today. You only need to not abandon yourself in it. I would genuinely love to hear your experiences. If you feel comfortable, share in the comments a moment when you realized, my suffering is not only about what happened, it is also about how my own mind is reacting. Or share a moment when you felt that, despite the storm outside, a small lamp of calmness remained lit inside you. Your story might be exactly what someone on the edge of despair needs to read. If you are going through a very hard season right now and do not know what to say, you can also use the comments simply to write a letter to your own heart. You might write, I am tired, I feel alone, but I want to live differently. Even that is already a powerful step. If this long, gentle conversation has been helpful to you, please consider supporting the channel. You can subscribe so that you will be notified when we share more content about awakening, wisdom, cause and effect, compassion, practice, destiny, and all the very human ways we wrestle with our own hearts. You can like this video, leave a comment, or share it with someone you care about who might be silently struggling. If you feel called to do so, you can also explore joining as a member or supporting in other ways, so that we can continue to create a space where honest and deep conversations about the mind and destiny can happen. Thank you, truly, for staying with me until the end of this sharing. May you, from today onward, slowly learn not to be pulled around by every wave of pain, but to turn the very same heart into a vessel of peace. May your life, no matter how strong the wind outside, always have a light inside that does not go out.
There are moments when you see something, and your heart simply whispers, this one is meant for me. Bracelet carries more than beads. It carries intention, protection, and quiet strength. Something to guide your thoughts and keep your spirit steady. If you felt that gentle pull toward any of the bracelets shown, the purchase link is waiting in the description, and the full collection is displayed on our channel store. Follow your intuition. It rarely leads you wrong.